then we'll open it up for questions about Duke.
Yeah, we had a Friday night game, which obviously gives you the weekend to kind of evaluate yourselves. Obviously some wear and tear last week with some guys playing a lot of minutes, so trying to be smart. But came back yesterday with probably one of our better practices in a long time. We just had to get back and start to compete more. And I thought that the guys were really engaged, and that's always a good sign. And we'll hopefully put together another good workout today, and then we'll travel. And big opportunity for our team to grow up another step, so to speak, with Duke on Tuesday night, and then we come back and open up Big Ten play. So it's an exciting week.
All right. First question, Mike.
Just as a player, just going into a place like that, how tough do you have to be just to even play well in a venue such as that?
Yeah, you got to be tough. I mean, you got to be tough to play on the road in the Big Ten too. I mean, there's a lot of great environments. Duke's obviously one of them. I think more than anything, though, is you can't make the platform and the stage and all that bigger than it is. It's Indiana, it's us. Can we go and execute against a good team? Can we compete against a good team? And mental toughness is something that is going to be paramount. Confidence, though, is everything when you go into these type of games. You need your best guys to be the most confident. You need them to lead the way. And I think as a staff right now, we're comfortable with our leadership. And as we go into this game on Tuesday, it's a mindset. I mean, you just have to physically, you have to be ready. Mentally, you have to be ready. But more so than anything, you have to be smart. You have to be yourself.
You obviously played there a few times, had an overtime game there at one point. Any personal memories that you kind of hold about that place?
Not very many wins. I know that. Not very many wins, but it's a great place to play. I'm sure more than anything, it's there's some mystique about it. The thing that I always remember about playing in Cameron wasn't really the fans or the environment. It was much more the teams that we played. And this team that we're going up against Tuesday really resembles and reminds me of some of the teams, in the late 90s and early 2000s that I played against. They're extremely talented, have great chemistry, play really, really hard, and they really challenge you on both ends of the floor. And I think that's the thing that is reminiscent the most about playing at Duke or coaching at Duke is the teams that you play against are much harder than the venue.
Just from a coaching standpoint, you go into the season, we hope to maybe experiment with some lineups, develop a rotation, but you haven't even been able to go 5-on-5 in practice. How have you tried to work around that a little bit?
You play mind games with yourself where, you can, break it down into smaller groups. You can maybe put your first group and first 7, however it is, versus a different group. But at the end of the day, it really comes back down to the same thing. I mean, how hard are you willing to get your guys to compete for short amounts of time or long periods of time? Understand that rotations and depth is something, that you always want at your disposal. When it's not there, how do you continue to work hard without losing that edge? And I thought last week we lost a little bit of that edge. A lot of it had to do, like I said, with some of the countless guys being in and out per day, and then playing 2 hard-fought games during the week that required a lot of minutes from some guys. But you could tell just in general the strength of our team early was going to be the numbers, and maybe just tailing back a little bit and trying to protect more than continuing to develop and work. Obviously maybe gotten us off to some chemistry problems offensively in both games. And then defensively, I think you saw some real slippage just in terms of the toughness, the effort level, what's required to be a good defensive team. And, I give our guys credit, though. They found a way to win two hard-fought games, and especially the last probably seven minutes of both games. Your leadership kind of spearheaded you, and some guys stepped up and made some plays. So, at the end of the day, it's hard to win. So winning is the ultimate goal, and if you get one, regardless how you get it, you feel good about it, and then you try to obviously get a little bit better. But yeah, it's been difficult here early, and November's been hard on our team. I mean, it's been hard on our team in general. Guys just, in, out, and I don't feel bad as a coach. I feel bad for them just because I think certain guys have really, worked really hard to get in there, and they just haven't really had a chance yet.
Devontae and Zach, you mentioned last week they were day-to-day. What are you expecting in terms of their availability this week?
Well, both guys for the first time, and I don't know how long, were on the court yesterday doing non-contact, full court and half court, which was good to see. They did not practice in the live stuff today. We'll try to give that a go again, see where we're at. We haven't had a setback with those two, so it's probably going to be, at this point in time, just wait, react, and see how back-to-back days go for them. If there's no setbacks, hopefully we can communicate and find a way to get one or two of those guys back into the rotation, because not just now, but heading into our 2 Big Ten games and then finishing December off of our non-conference, it would be nice to get those guys back. It would be a big help, and it would also get those guys an opportunity to prepare themselves for January.
You talked about guys not wanting to be overwhelmed by the moment, the stage at Duke, but at the same time, do you maybe want to find some balance where they are feeding off of the opportunity, I guess, to play on that stage against a team like that, just in the electricity of that atmosphere, even if it is on the road?
Yeah, I mean, competitors want to be in that environment. I mean, the best want to play the best. I think our guys want to play well. I think our guys want to go down there and play our game and, play tough-minded and, take it step by step. But anyone who's a little worried about going down there probably shouldn't go. I mean, that's just the way that works. And I hope we have a mindset that our group takes the floor ready to go. That's the thing the coach hopes for the best, is the mindset. And we're working really hard to prepare them for that. But every game's a big game, and whether you're playing in Assembly Hall or you're playing in Cameron, the stage is a stage. You can create it however you want to create it, but it should be an exciting lead up to the game. I think a lot of people are excited for it. I know our guys are excited to play. So, but yeah.
When you look at Zion, RJ, and Cam, what stands out to you the most about what they've, outside of the hype, what they've actually done to help their team win?
Well, I think all 3 guys are right fitting in the mold of what Duke basketball is, which is team. I don't see, 3 guys or 2 guys, however you want to do it, sort of out there rolling their eyes at another guy. I think that's the thing that you're always so impressed with Duke, regardless of their team, is their chemistry. I think they have good chemistry. I think those guys are playing their roles. They obviously had great opportunities with expanded roles, but they've been able to impact their team with, in my opinion, with great attitude, great competitiveness. Obviously, their talents and their basketball ability is on display. I think everybody has seen how good they are, but they're playing team ball. I mean, and I think that's the thing that's always so unique about Coach K and what he does, is how he can create that team and mix in older guys with them, but at the same time, put his best players in position to be successful, which is what they do.
Coach, what do you think Duran can give you guys, not only for tomorrow night's game, but also heading to start Big Ten play, not only health-wise, but kind of from an experience standpoint?
Yeah, Duran's, again, it's very difficult for a guy to come off injury and sort of enter a season where you're not fully recovered. So when you have to go through the recovery, through the practices and the minutes that he's tried to, build up to, you're also trying to get into shape. And with that, your body sort of goes into shutdown mode, where you just don't feel good, from top to bottom. And I think he's dealing with a lot of soreness and a lot of aches and pain, just because he's trying to play through it, where a lot of guys have already worked to get there. So he's off and on right now. He's had some soreness, and obviously his Achilles. He practiced yesterday, I thought well, but he is sore. But I'm hoping as Tuesday rolls around, as we get into Big Ten play and finish December, he can continue to push through, because we're going to need his size and his experience level and sort of that presence of physicalness, as we hit the big stretch of the season, just because I think, number one, he's our biggest guy, but 2, he can also get you some baskets, and he's also a guy that can hold his ground in there a little bit. So we're hopeful that he can continue to push through and give us more and more every game. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to have to find a way to add more depth inside, I think, just because we're going to need another guy.
All right, go ahead.
So kind of going off that, then we've seen not a whole lot of Jake Forrester or Clifton Moore so far of the season. Is there a bit of a hesitancy to throw them into the fire? Is there a reason why we haven't seen a ton of them so far?
Well, I think just in general, we felt very comfortable right now with our inside rotation and also trying to work Duran in there as much as possible and get him some game reps and experience. I mean, I think you're going to see Juwan play a lot of minutes. I think you're going to see Justin and Evan kind of complementing each other. They've earned that right. Those other two guys have done a good job. Both guys are chomping at the bit, and we'll see how it goes here. But I wouldn't be surprised if either or both, or however it works, they don't start to find a way to get in there and help a little bit.
The NCAA released the first edition of its net rankings. I'm just curious, is that something you as a staff or as a program are paying close attention to this early in the season, or I guess what are your thoughts on that?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen it. It's very far off my mind. I mean, at this stage of the game, this early in the season, whether it was an RPI or a Ken Palm or whatever they call that, and whenever their first published ones come out, and it's such a small sample size, and you have such a long way to go with so many huge opportunities, and those numbers are dictated by what you do, and I think if you pay attention to them all the time, you can kind of get caught up in the what you just have to control what you can control, which is every opportunity you have to take advantage of, and with every ranking that comes out, or you see teams start one way, you see them finish another, whether that's good or bad, but I'll have to, obviously sit down and look. We'll definitely, as a staff, sort of start to kind of see how it's shaped out right now. But, with the non-conference scheduling being so probably imbalanced right now early in the season, it's probably going to be a wide range. I would think that the imbalances will play out, especially within the Big Ten, just due to the fact that it looks to me like the Big Ten may be the deepest league, if not one of them, throughout the course of the regular season. So I think that the Big Ten in general will have, with 20 opportunities now, a much different effect when you play those games in conference this year, which last year obviously probably was an outlier where, you play Indiana and you lose to a tier 3 opponent. So there's some scenarios within the league last year that were really difficult to kind of justify. But I think our league is really up and up right now in terms of our depth, the teams that are doing well. So I think that everything should balance. After December, January, and February is going to be a real grind.
Defensively, I think you guys have yet to allow more than a point per possession in a game this year. Just in general, where has this team grown the most since last year at this stage?
Well, we're much better defensively than we were a year ago, clearly. Our veteran guys, our older guys have a much different understanding of how to play, what needs to be done. And as crazy as it sounds, I mean, when you look at having Rob, Romeo, and even Denise for long periods of time out there as true freshmen, we're probably not anywhere near where we can get, hopefully, by January and February with their game experience and their scouting and some of the things that, they don't know, that they're obviously getting game reps. But, if you add Devontae and you add McRoberts back to the fold, our perimeter depth gets better. We should theoretically be able to be even more solid, be able to apply a harder playing team, because sometimes fatigue is really playing a role in our breakdowns. From an inside perspective, I don't think we're the greatest size rim protecting team. I've always said I think we have good quickness, and I think we can cover for some things, but without question, I feel like this team's a better defensive team than last year. Clearly at this time, I thought last year's team really evolved and developed, and I think you can see at the start of this season that evolvement has carried over a little bit. So, knock on wood here a little bit, if we can continue to work in December and as we get into Big Ten play, you keep raising the bar, so to speak. So hopefully we can keep doing that.
With Rob last year, do you have any sense of how much he kind of studied you guys as you played games last year? Did you give him any homework so that he would be able to come in here prepared? Any sense of that?
I didn't give him any homework, but he definitely paid attention. He watched us tirelessly, came to a lot of games, was at practice in the fall, understands the game in terms of what it's about, how to play the position a little bit. But without question, he really paid attention. He understood, throughout the course of the season when we would talk to him where we were struggling at, what he saw. And, I think early in his career here, you're seeing a guy that thinks the game a little bit. He's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he is there every day. He's extremely tough-minded. He thinks during the games. He can communicate. And he improves from film session to film session. I didn't think he played his best game defensively in our last one, which was one of probably the few times this season that as a staff we kind of watched him and said, you know, he had taken a step back, but maybe, you know, part of that is due to, you know, our miscommunications on the floor at times, or just in general fatigue and maybe set in a little bit. But, you know, he had a good day yesterday, and, you know, he's doing a fine job.
All right, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.